It is hoops hype time as we shape up for some Wednesday night basketball. Melbourne United taking on the Cairns Taipans, and we're here to break it all down with your preview and predictions for the game ahead. And as I say, it is Melbourne United at home, but because of the Australian Open tennis being on the horizon, they are on the road with their home games. They take these out to Bendigo at the moment for their next game, and they host a Cairns Taipan side that has lost 4 in a row. So interesting facets on both sides. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure to hit subscribe, hit like on the video, get involved in the comments, let us know what your thoughts are in regards to what we're taking on here. But we are really hyped for this one. We're going to be bringing you the live watch along tonight as well. So stay tuned from 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for that. But let's take it apart. These two sides sit in very different spots on the ladder. Melbourne United sitting in third at the moment. Cairns way down in last place in 10th. Season over for the Taipans. They cannot make the play-in. They won't be in finals. And they are just looking for pride and maybe, just maybe, clawing their way in front of their state-based teammates, the Brisbane Bullets, or the fellow club from Queensland, the Brisbane Bullets, who are just one win in front of them. That's realistically the ceiling for Cairns as it sits at the moment, barring something anomalous from Illawarra or New Zealand. Those two sides are really starting to lose grip with the play-in as well. But it's an interesting one. Cairns, as I said, coming off the back of 4 losses in a row. Melbourne United have gone loss, win, loss, win, loss. Far from convincing Melbourne United. They just haven't been at the races in recent times. They lost to the Jack Jumpers on Saturday. The Saturday before, they beat Brisbane. The week before that, they lost again to the Jack Jumpers. They've beaten the Hawks. They've lost to the Kings. That's their last 5 games. They also lost to the 36ers. This is a side that was 9-0 to start the season. I know I keep harping on that fact, but that is the tale of the tape. They have lost 8 from their last 14 games, and I think something like 6 of their last 10 or 7 of their last 10. They're not doing well, and now they're on the road for a month. I know it's a home game for them in Bendigo, but geez, this is a tough one, and they need their side to step up in terms of when it comes to how they're performing and how they're going to deliver. Because on paper, they are one of, if not the best side in this competition, like they showed at the start of the season. But they're just not displaying that at the moment. So it's going to be an interesting one for Melbourne. Obviously, the big matchups here, it's going to be Sam Wardenberg up against Jesse Edwards. Jesse hasn't quite been his best. Wardenberg trying to build, but not consistent. The two big men, they could set the tone here. Obviously, we've got some players that can light up on both sides as well. We know McVeigh will be one of those for Cairns. He's been hot and cold, though. When he's hot, though, he's almost unstoppable. For Melbourne, they've got that man that they spent all the money to bring from Tasmania, Milton Doyle. He has to get going a little bit more. Tyson Walker can fire for them as well. They're without Shaylee. They've got the experience of CG43, who just, again, for mine, hasn't quite been at the races for a big part of this season. We know that he missed the start of the year with injury. He then came back in off the bench and built his way back in. And yeah, look, I think for Melbourne, they need to find some more here. They're going to go into this as reasonable favourites, but Cairns will be sniffing blood in the water, I think. If they can get a few of their players, Mojave King, to start draining a few threes as well, there's going to be a bit of a difference about this game. So, certainly going to need some more from some of those role players. I think their last game, Doyle and Walker were the only ones that got into double digits. CG43, very quiet. Some of these other players, Tanner Krebs, he was playing so much better at the start of the season. Maybe that's what they need to look to go back to. Dash Daniels does head home to Bendigo, though, so looking forward to seeing him back in his home territory. It'll probably be the last time these 2 games in Bendigo that the home crowd of Bendigo will get a chance to see Dash Daniels before he heads off to the NBA and, may never come back, may never play another game of hoops in Bendigo. So hopefully they turn out in their droves at Red Energy Arena. In terms of the stats, Cairns, they need to get this firing from 3. That's where they are strong. They are second in the league for 3-pointers made. I think 10 per game they're averaging, shooting at 33%. Melbourne United, not much worse in terms of it, putting up a lot less attempts. That said, Melbourne United get plenty of points per game. They're doing pretty well there. It's an area where Cairns are last in the league, like their ladder position. Melbourne United third in the league, 73.3. A whopping 7 points behind a South East Melbourne side that are now sitting second. But Melbourne United try and rely on Walker and co in their defensive props to get the job done. It's an interesting space for Melbourne. They are not a team that really dominates too many of the stats categories. When you have a look at who's sitting top of most of the categories, it is not Melbourne in too many of them. So that's certainly something for them. they do sit quite high in one stat that they don't want to sit high in. That's turnovers per game. They and Cairns are 4th and 3rd respectively. So that is, something they really want to work on. In terms of these two teams, though, Melbourne will go into this as certainly very warm favourites. The X factor for mine is that man I just touched on. He is the defensive and offensive pressure for Melbourne United, and that is that man Tyson Walker. If he can keep the defensive press on, plus put up points and carry some others with him, they will go a long way to winning this. But again, they need to shut down McVeigh for Cairns. We've seen him put up some points in the 30s and 40s, and when he does, Cairns go with him. Doesn't happen often, but if he can go along, get an Andrew Andrews, a couple of others to fire with him, then all of a sudden it is going to be game on for the Melbourne United side, for the Cairns Taipans side against Melbourne on their non-home deck, if you will. In terms of the wise wagers, as always, gamble responsibly, bet with your head, not over it. Our first bet, I just can't go past a big line against an inconsistent Melbourne United side. If you shop around, you can get Cairns plus 13.5, plus 14 flat even. A lot of books are at plus 12.5. But I'd be taking them at the sort of $1.90 to $1.93 that's out there at plus 13.5. That's quite a good market for me. In terms of the points, I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring affair, so I'm going to go under 180.5. You can get 181 flat at a couple of places, but it's moving in terms of the odds. But you should be able to get $1.90 to $1.91 around the under 180.5. So, yeah, it's certainly looking around at those. See what you can get there. I think this will be, as I said, low scoring. I think both teams will be focused on the defensive end as they try and, in Cairns' case, play spoilers on the road, and in Melbourne's case, try and get a win at their home, away from home here at Red Energy Arena in Bendigo. For our value bet today, I'm going to go for two of the leaders to carry a lot here. I think there'll only be a couple of players really firing hard. So I'm going to go Milton Doyle to go over 14.5 points, into Jack McVeigh over 20 points. The two of those, you can get about $3.25 plus $2.25 at the right books. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of our value bet here. There's not a lot of leans I love. I think this will be an interesting game. It just depends on which side can come out of the gates. But I think there'll be some points on offer early, and then they'll get into the grind and try and wear each other down. Foul trouble could be a concern for both those guys, but I don't think they'll get to that tonight. This isn't a spiteful sort of clash. I think it'll just be good hustle and grind defense. And I actually think this will be an entertaining game to watch so long as Cairns can stay with Melbourne United in the first quarter. That's what we're going to be looking at most notably. But as always, a big thanks for tuning in to Hoops Hype. It's a very brief one today. We'll be back, as I said, 7:30 p.m. tonight with the live watch along. We look forward to having you there. In the meantime, make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let us know what your bets are for tonight in the comments. And let us know if you're tuning into the live watch along. We look forward to having you along for plenty more videos. We've got plenty more content coming at you. Basketball, cricket, tennis, and much, much more across our Aussie summer of sport and onwards from there. Looking to try and hit that 750 subscribers in the next 6 weeks. So help us charge on towards that. We need another 130 or so. As always, a big thanks to you for tuning in to Hoops Hype and your home of the black and white of sport. No grey opinions here.